The Line 6 Helix Stadium has been around for quite a while. I have the XL version, which means I have the expression pedal and lots of input and output. But there's something both models share in common, and it's the least talk about feature. I'm talking about something that could actually change how you play, how you see your guitar effects, how you set up your presets, and understanding the gear itself better. Think of it as an AI feature or an AI assistant within your Helix, even though it wasn't officially advertised that way, even though Lindsys kind of missed that part because that's what companies just do these days, just call everything AI. But it's an automated system that is built within the Helix. Now, I have one of my preset laying down here. This is called my Dix Mix Ready. It's part of my preset pack. So if you want to cop these, you can go in and check it out. And I've been playing with this feature for a while. I didn't quite get a grasp of it. Not sure why, but it's I discovered is actually the most less talk about feature, but it could actually be the one of the most important things that this actually ships with. And I am talking about focus mode. Now, what this does, it creates some sort of variations between different settings. It's like having multiple presets for one effect or for amp or for any block. It could be for, in this case, I have a delay pedal here. This is the Adriatic delay. So this is the Adriatic delay. Now, if you click on any parameters, for me right here, I'm using the preamp, which is legacy. It's from the old. And I could play into it right now and hear what it sounds like. Now that sounds excellent. That sounds good. I like the way it sounds. But if you move this all the way around, it changed the tonal variation. And if you look at me moving it around, you're gonna see that the parameters below here are actually changing with that, which is quite impeccable. Or I can pick a different effects like a reverb here. Now you have a legacy chamber reverb. Now it's at the small settings and I can. And you can hear it in real time, the changes that are happening within that same preset or within just that effect. Pick another effect here. So this is more of my ambient tone. Brighter. For endless space, you can see all the parameters changing. The decay is at 9.5 now. Small hall. Let's take it back here. Make it a little bit darker. So that's some wow effects, some wobbly effects. So, yeah. So it's kind of a quick way to get around with what each parameter does. So it's kind of something that educates you to know what actually changes when you move certain parameters. And it's also a quick way to kind of find something that you like. And I kind of like this endless space here. I can decide to add it to favorite and just add new and just say endless. and I could recall that. So you can immediately hear those changes, and this doesn't just go for just reverbs and amps and cabs. You can pretty much do it with anything. Now I have a compulsive drive, which is a version of the OCD in here. I believe this is version 1.4. Okay, this is version 2, and I can just move these around. And if I come to scoped distortion, you see it's picking version 4, and it's picking the peak at mode at low. So it's just making all these changes, and I can pretty much play around with whatever it is that is there. Like, okay, now I have this tone done. This is my here parent, which is king of tone, prince of tone actually. So move these down. You can see it's changing the levels and every other thing. So basically, you can do almost any and everything you want to do in here, and it just gets you all familiar with different effects. We've exercised this with overdrives, with amp, with preamp session, and even delays and reverb. So this is something that it just kind of really makes this all sounds really good. And when it comes to pitch shifting effect, that's where it really does shine. even for sound design, this actually goes a whole long way, and you can achieve a whole lot with just this simple Helix tape. And especially for sound design, if you're just looking for new ideas, you can have this on your desk and just play around with it. I can't wait for the Helix Native because this would be a really amazing feature to have in the Helix Native. Imagine having this all matched to like a MIDI setup so you can make those changes with different tabs and just mess around with parameters. That gives you a whole lot to do. And that is why devices like this having a touchscreen just create a whole new level of creative explorations that you can just embark on, and it's just unending from there. And that's the whole idea of having a device like this. And this is why I feel as though modelers are more superior than capture, because how many amp captures are you going to capture to be able to get this fluid reaction from an amp or an effect and all that good stuff? So as much as I like and I've been campaigning for NAMP capture, I actually think the Helix Stadium is ahead of its time. Having a NAMP feature added to it would just be more of a decision that the company has to make to stay afloat because of the ever-changing ecosystem, just not to be left behind. Not like Line 6 really needs the A2 amp, and I'm standing by what I said. I'm all for Line 6 having that support, at least having that option is unique. There are some amps that are not here that are unique to the A2. It just gives you a whole lot of endless possibility with the A2. But on its own, the Helix Stadium, and I say this without any reservation for any other reservation whatsoever. This is a heck of a gear, and I don't think anyone around has used this piece of gear up to 20% of what it's capable of. I think everyone's still around 5%.
Now, now that we know that this depends solely on the touchscreen, there's something you want to do to protect this touchscreen. Now, there's been a lot of so many accessories for the Helix Stadium. Some of them I find really clustery, for lack of a better word. I just didn't like it. It's kind of like this old design of this childish. I just don't like them. But I was just scrolling through the Facebook group, and this dude, Randy Way, he printed a 3D printed this cover for the screen, and he has it in different colors. But I just think that black is just non-invasive, and you could just slap it in, and your screen is protected. I nearly broke my screen at a gig 2 weeks ago because one of the microphones that I was holding just fell and it landed on the screen. And at that point, I began to panic that, you know, I mean, it already sucks that you have something built with glass. I mean, solid glass, don't get me wrong, but it could break. If it can break, it will break, even though it's solid. So you need to kind of put some level of protection, especially if it's just laying down on the floor like it is in my studio. Sometimes I drop stuff. I've been this device on it. I don't know if he has a website yet. I just want to give a quick shout out to Randy. He's actually just came into the studio today, and I just want to talk about it. So shout out to Randy for doing it. It fits perfectly on top of it, and it just works well. Yeah, and he also has a card, so if you want to 3D print this, you can 3D print it. And if you want to support him or buy it from Brandy, I'll leave his Facebook page down in the description, so you can reach out to him and have him print one for you and send it out. Or if you have a 3D printer, you can print something this for yourself. This just looks great. I will put some soft padding, non-sleeve soft padding. I'll look for some on Amazon. I'll put some soft padding here as well, just to absorb impacts and all that good stuff. But again, this is a pretty nice stuff. Just to see this right now, it's really good. And shout out to Randy for printing these out.
My name is Dami. I'm a guitar player and audio engineer. Sometimes I make video tips like this. If you find this helpful, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Remember, don't stop creating. Peace out.